What's going on, family? This is the Kosh with Heal for Real, where I teach you hidden knowledge to help you heal for real on a mental, physical, and spiritual plane. Because truth be told, you need all three to keep you whole. And with that being said, let's get into this lesson. Now, understanding this one thing will help you become healthy and stay healthy on a mental, physical, and spiritual level, right? And this one thing is this right here, becoming aware. What does awareness mean? Aware or aware or beware is an old English term for being cautious, right? Also going into your perception or knowledge of a thing or your realization of a thing. So becoming aware, what does that mean, right? We have to become aware spiritually, mentally, and physically. Because a lot of times we're walking around and not realizing that we are influenced by so many other people. We're influenced by the different beliefs that we have. We're influenced by political systems. We're influenced by all the many different matrices that is around us, okay? All these different constructs that are around us, and we don't realize that we're making our decisions based off what somebody is basically making us do or forcing us to do, right? It could be in tradition, all of these different things, and I'll go into all of these different things. So first, in becoming aware, let's talk about our first estate. Remember, our first estate is spiritual. Our first home is spiritual. So what we're going to do is we're going to go spiritual first, okay? Let's go to our first estate, right? So becoming aware, so we're just going to call this right here spiritual awareness. Spiritual awareness. Now, this is key because it goes into your belief systems. It goes into what you allow to control you. For instance, what do you believe in spiritually? How much time are you connecting with the Most High? And when the Most High, I mean the Most High frequency, the creator of all, okay? How often are you spending with the Most High, right? Whether that be the forms of different ways you do it and get into a flow state, right? So I'll just write flow state. Right? And this is where everything flows, right? Remember, energy is important. Like the last video I did, when I talked about briefly about energy that's not at flow or energy that's blocked or not at ease, you become dis-ease, okay? So a flow state will help you not be at dis-ease spiritually, right? Which also will manifest mentally and then manifest physically as some type of physical dis-ease, you know, whether it be cancer, whether it be diabetes, all of these different things, all of these different problems that most people walk around with daily, kidney issues, you know, all of these different things, right? Liver problems, gall problems, right? A lot of that, majority of that, 99% of that comes from here. I would say really 100% of that starts here, right? So spiritual awareness, flow state. And so the things that get you in a flow state, whether it be meditation, some people do like to exercise, some people like to do art, music, canoeing, whatever, anything that helps you get in a flow state, okay? Things that help your energy flow and not become blocked, okay? So how often are you doing these things? How often are you reading about spirituality and studying and bettering yourself? How often are you doing these things? Also too, whatever religion or belief system that you are in, is it serving you? And that's a key point, right? Is this serving you? Right? Is it even serving you? Because if it's not serving you, then you have to think. This begs the question, why am I following this, right? And this is some reason that people may follow something that doesn't serve them is because this main thing right here is tradition, right? Now, I grew up Catholic, and it never made sense to me. I was always the one that asked the questions to the priest, and then I grew up and asked questions to the pastors, but I would ask the, preach these questions, these high level questions. And I mean, I'm like 6 and 7, and they get mad at me like, hey, you need to be quiet. Hey, don't ask these questions, and really what it was, these people they didn't know the answer to them, and I always was a spiritual person. I always wanted to be connected to the Most High. So I became like an altar server, trying to do different things. And, I became, part of this membership that was real close with, I thought that would make me closer to God or what I thought was God at the time. So as you know better, you do better, okay? And so tradition to have you follow some things that doesn't make sense. Many times I remember reading in the Bible certain things that didn't make sense to me and just brushing it off. Or when I asked the pastor they'll tell me, oh, don't think of things that you can't understand. And really, they was talking about don't go into things that they don't understand, right? So, and it's okay if you don't know, but if you're in something, if you're in a religion or if you're in a belief system that is limiting, right, that don't allow you to seek out knowledge, that don't allow you to go further and grow, right, then you're in prison. And I'll just leave that there. You're in prison. And think about that, okay? So spiritual awareness are the traditions or all the belief systems, right? Traditions of belief systems, right? Are the traditions of belief systems serving you? Are they serving you? Are they growing, right? Or are they allowing you to grow? You see, and so keep that in mind, because if you're not aware of this thing, you can be trapped in a cycle forever. You know, my father, he's still Catholic, and he always says, like, you know, he a Catholic because his mom was a Catholic and his dad was a Catholic, so he just doing that. And in a way, I understand the loyalty, right? I understand the loyalty, but in a way, it's kind of like when you know better, you do better, you know. And some people don't want to know better, so they can't do better. And that's another limiting factor that you place upon yourself. So spiritual awareness, becoming aware of these things are highly important, y'all. Highly important, right? Because, man, religion has become so big, man. It's like one of the richest, oh my goodness, one of the richest businesses, man. And it's a reason why, you know. They have the ability to control a lot of people. I mean, that's like one of the best marketing, honestly, marketing tools that you can have, you know? But that's neither here nor there. So let's get into the next one, and we're gonna go mental here. We're gonna go on the mental plane. So, right, mental awareness. All right, mental awareness, okay? Like, so, in mental awareness, this is where you think about your mentality, right? This is where you go into, okay, how do I feel about myself, right? So you go into thoughts of self. Thoughts of self. And it's important to think of yourself. You know, if you played any type of sports, you know, a football player do not go play their opponent or fight against their opponent until they have watched and studied film on that person. A boxer do not go find tendencies or weaknesses of the opponent until they watch film on the opponent. And it's the same thing with yourself. To know how to overcome a certain issue that you have, something that's limiting you. And in order to go above that, you have to first find out and seek out what's limiting you, right? What is the thing that you need to overcome? And a lot of times, the first step of overcoming anything is knowing what it is you need to overcome. And a lot of times, if you're in a cycle, like I say, of deceit and defeat, you will never know what you need to overcome unless you did this self-analysis, what we call self-examination. Okay, so thoughts of yourself. Are you happy with yourself? Do you feel like you're a loser? Do you feel like you're a winner? Do you feel like you're a success story? Or do you feel that you haven't contributed to the level of you know what you can contribute to, right? Of yourself. Have you set out goals? Do have you reached your goals if you set them out? And these are questions that we have to think about. And also your habits, right? What are the habits that you have? You know, what are these things that you think about? And also, right, are they serving you? Are these thoughts serving you? Are you thinking like the person you want to become? Or are you motivating yourself? Because a lot of times, right, I know we use people for motivation, and that's a good thing, but if we're only using that to motivate us to do something, then we can never become who we really supposed to become. You are the ones who have to motivate yourself, okay? Because you're going to do it when no one's around. Right? You don't need somebody to pep talk you into doing it, which I'm kind of doing now, right? But, right, what I'm saying is it's a place for this, but don't allow just outside people to only motivate you. Motivate yourself when nobody is around to motivate you. Because if there was no such thing as the internet or YouTube or anything like that, you couldn't find motivation outside yourself, right? We wouldn't be able to do it unless you had friends and people around you. But let's say we're just in the wilderness and you needed the motivation to survive. Okay, you have to learn how to motivate yourself and get things done. So that's a very important thing about in the mental plane, becoming mental aware of these things, right? And also, not only the thoughts of yourself, but this is very important too, with the thoughts of others, right? Thoughts of others, y'all, that's ugly, don't worry about that. Thoughts of others, okay? But what are your thoughts of your inner circle, right? Like, if you was to go to these people and tell them a business idea, would they shoot it down? Would they say, oh, that's too big for you? Oh, no, man, you can't do that, right? Or would they encourage you and say, man, I believe in you. I believe you can do it. Let me know any way I can help. So it's important to take inventory of your friends, right? And to know, are they serving you? It's very important to know your circle that's around you, because believe it or not, even if you're the person who's like, man, I don't listen to nobody else, and I don't let their beliefs sway me, or I don't let what people's opinions of me sway me. I'll tell you this, subconsciously, and it happens to a lot of us without us even knowing. Just like a new tire that you bought, eventually, when you ride that tire, if you're riding on that tire hard and you continue boom, 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 hitting that tire on potholes and cracks and all the different issues that it come against in the road, right? Eventually that new tire wears down. It's the same thing that happened with us. If every time you get to friends and get around people and you're excited about this thing you have in your mind, and which is good because you're manifesting about what you want to do and accomplish it, so you're excited. And what happens is you tell the people that you love, or you tell the people that you believe that should be in your corner, and they continue to deflate you, okay? They continue to knock you down. You need to really pay attention to that. That's why it's important to not tell people your dreams, because your dreams can be bigger than them. And a lot of times they're telling you something and they operate as, or they think that they're doing something in love by telling you, oh man, don't do that, that's too big for you, by being real with you. But really what's really going on, they don't want you to go out and do the thing you said you was going to do, because what's going to happen is once you do that thing and the goals that they set out and they never accomplished, they're going to be sitting there by themselves knowing that they should have been accomplished their dreams, right? And you told them their dreams and your dreams, and you accomplished it, and they're going to be lonely. Okay, so that's very important to realize. Take inventory of your friends and the people around you, right? And this goes with parents, this goes with loved ones, right? Family members. Sometimes they grow up and they was only taught a certain thing, so they try to put these beliefs on you, right? So we have to be the ones to step out of that matrix and be like, no, I'm going to create a whole new thing for me and my family. And this is how you become your family's first millionaire, by thinking outside of the box, not following the cycles, okay? So that's very important when you're dealing with the thoughts of others, right? Are these people serving you? Okay, so that's how we have to take inventory with ourselves on a mental level. Mental awareness, thoughts of self, thoughts of others. And by really honing in on our thoughts, we can actually begin to manifest our best life and become healthy, right? And stay healthy, because we are aware of these limiting things that we placed on ourselves, right? We're aware of the things that don't serve us, whether it be people, whether it be ourselves, our current selves. We don't serve our future self. We don't serve what we want, right? Our own self. So we have to cut that off as well. Okay? So now this brings us to the physical plane. All right? So we're dealing with, I'm gonna keep awareness up there. Physical. Did I give myself room? Oh, that's ugly. Physical awareness, people, right? Physicality can be ugly sometimes, right? So, physical awareness. And what I mean by physical awareness is, let's look at, for instance, I'll go the first thing, right? The way you look. And it also plays with the mental, because how you think about yourself. Do you think you're ugly, right? I could have said that earlier. Do you think so? Those actually play hand in hand with the physical. And if you don't like your self-image, then all you have to do is what? Fix it. That's one thing about this physical realm. You begin to think better about yourself, right? You begin to motivate yourself when no one's motivating you. And now you can go and put in the work. So if your physique you have a problem with your physique, go fix it. Go work out, right? Eat different, change your mentality up, right? And then once you put it in the physical realm, it's gonna be easy for you to do these things. Okay, so physical awareness, right? Let's go into so the first thing is, are you aware of diet? right? Diet. And I don't even like to call it a diet, because see this word here, you got diet it, right? Let's call it a live it, right? Live it. Shout out to my brother Yaki. He got me saying that word live it, man. But, right? So, let's look at that, right? Now, when people go on diets, they're usually following a fad. And see, that's the cycle that you can get caught in. Remember the last video I talked about the cycle of deceit and defeat, right? So that's when I say cycles, that's what I'm talking about. So you get into this cycle, right, in this diet, okay? I say live it. If you're doing it right, you live it, okay? So when you're dealing with a diet, if you're doing it right, you're living it. If you're doing it wrong, you're dying, okay, or diet. So live it equals living. Why? Because your lifestyle will change. Lifestyle change. So if you do a diet, right, eventually that's going to die off and phase off because it's a fad. But if you're dealing with a live it, right, which is what I call living, which is a lifestyle change. So your livelihood changes, okay? Meaning that in diet, you're dealing with fads, right? So the fad, you deal with what? The Atkins diet. I remember it was the Atkins diet. Then it's a freaking keto diet. Then it's a you name it diet, right? So you have all these different diets that come out and people they move on to the next best thing. It's almost like the same thing with manifestations. Like, oh, you gotta listen to Neville Goddard, and oh, you gotta listen to this person, and oh, you gotta go listen to that person, right? And oh, you gotta do these steps, and you gotta follow these principles, right? And sometimes you have to, even in that, you have to be like, man, is this serving me, right? Is this for me, right? Because there's many ways to skin a cat, man. I mean, listen. There's a way that seems right to a man, but the end is destruction, right? That's scripture, okay? So just because it may seem right for somebody else doesn't mean it's right for you. You have to find what's right for you. A lot of times we view and watch other people and we follow. We get in this cycle. We're like, well, why it worked for them? Well, it worked for them probably because they turned the diet into a live it. And it wasn't for you, so you did it as a fad because you was motivated by this person doing it instead of finding out what works for you, family. And that's the important thing. So diet, you deal with fads. Living, you deal with living. So let's look at it, right? What do you eat? So diet is also, what you eat. That's what they call a diet, which I call a living, right? You eating living foods, right? Or you're eating foods that serve you energetically, okay? So let's go to eat, right? Or your foods serving you, or your food serving you, right? It's important to know because remember, foods are frequency. How do we know that? Well, just look at the colors on the fruits and vegetables, right? That's a frequency. Now we know also that food give off frequency. I showed you in the last video, right? Of the killing photography, that the light, the energy that comes off of it, the aura of the fruits. And so we also know, like R.S. Latham said, he has this his business called Sun Cooked Foods. Why? Because the most nutritious food are the foods that's cooked by the sun, meaning they're the highest up. That's why a giraffe has this long neck to reach way up and get the most nutritious thing that has information and sun encoded into it, right? Cooked into it. And what I mean by that is that's why foods grow seasonal. So when you eat these foods, the foods that have the coding for that season for you, okay? The coding that your body, you take that in, your DNA, right, actually reads the code, and it becomes a serving type of food for you. It becomes information for your body to operate in that season. So that's the very important thing of eating foods that serve you, because foods are energetic. We are energetic people. We are energetic beings. We're walking batteries, okay? So are these foods serving you? And if you know these foods aren't serving you, which majority of people know, right? I'm going to eat this quadruple hamburger. I used to be that guy. Trust me, man. I used to, man, look. I used to after football game, man, I'm talking about, and before a football game, man, and the guys will be eating all type of pizza and burgers, and the freaking pizza people knew us by name, man. And we didn't know the damage that it was doing to us because we were fit, we was working out, we was doing all of these things, man. But just because you're fit, you working out, that doesn't mean that your internal self is clean and right, okay? That's why you have people that may be skinny or slender, right, end up dying with high cholesterol. They die with their organs fail because they have suffocating organs, because they have what is called visceral fat covering their organs, okay? This is very important. They may not grow the fat on the outside, but on the inside, that's where they grow their fat. You can't see it, but it's there. And that's the worst type of fat. And it's easy to burn off, though, if you do it right, okay? So, now, are these foods serving you? And if you know these foods aren't serving you, then you have to take inventory and say, okay, why am I eating these foods that don't serve me? Okay, is really the taste of this food or the what I'm used to, right? The tradition of this food, is it worth more than my life? Okay, is it worth more than my goals or what I want to do? Because I know if I continue to eat in this way, right? If I continue doing this same operating the same lifestyle, then what's going to happen is I'm gonna eventually get sick and I'm gonna eventually die from it, or slow down, or get decrepit, or get weak, or whatever. Strokes, all these things happen. If you don't die, you're going to wind up having a lower quality of life that you don't want, family. So now you have to think about, on the physical realm, right? If I am eating these foods, why am I eating these foods? What is the attachment to these foods, right? Like, for instance, junk food, okay? Junk foods, all right? I'll go into maybe two of them, okay? Let's deal with sweets, okay? I know a lot of people love sweets, and the reason why, and it could be, and maybe it's not wholly the reason for you, but it could be that someone that you love that have passed away, maybe like a grandmother or an aunt, right, used to call you sweet things all the time, right? They used to name you sweet things. They used to be like, oh, my honey bun, oh, my sweetie pie, right? What it was, Michael Jackson's song, sugar pie, honey bun, remember that? Yeah, yeah. So those thoughts around food get intertwined into the heart, right? And so you place your love or your heart and mind on these things. So whenever you're not feeling right, whenever you're feeling down, not feeling good about yourself, you go to the food for comfort. That's what we get, comfort foods, right? And then now, let's say you have a breakup, you're not feeling good about yourself, or the breakup and everything, and you're depressed. So now you go to a whole bunch of ice cream, you're eating these sweet things because you remember the feeling it was when you were being called all of these sweet things. And maybe your grandmother, even at the time, while she calling you sweetie sugar pie dumpling, you're eating sweet and sugar pie dumplings. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, this is important to know yourself, because you have to know what these things, the root cause of these things and where they start from. And a lot of times they start at childhood. And so now we know these different things. Now we can combat them. Yeah, I eat that because I do feel down sometimes, right? And the same thing with salty, right? Like salty. And salty was a big thing for me. And then I learned that it has to do with anger issues, right? Not being satisfied with your situation, right? Anxiety, with crunchy things and salty things like potato chips. That was my thing, man. And, I had to take an outlook on life, man. I wasn't happy at the job I was at. I wasn't happy about my family dynamic at home. Like I wanted more from my family, and so that became a thing for me. And not only that, my mom loves a lot of potato chips. So I remember when I first started driving, I'm like, thinking I'm in the whip, I'm doing good. I'm like, hey, I'm about to get the boys. I'm supposed to go to the store. She sent me to the store to go get some food, right? I take about 20 minutes to an hour just to go pick up a loaf of bread or something. But she also tell me, hey, baby, bring us some chips back, right? Or if, let's say I was just going to get some gas and just doing something for myself, go get me and you some chips, right? And so that became a thing for me. So every time I would go to the gas station, every time I would go get some chips. All right, so I had to learn that cycle and I had to break it, okay? In order for me to become the person that I want to be, the person that I project myself to be, okay? And operate in the realm. I have to start doing that now, right? I have to start doing these things now. So it is important to know that these foods, these physical things in this realm, your exercise and all of these things, right? Your work life, right? Are these things serving you? Is your job serving you, right? Or your goal or your habits serving you? And this is another thing I want to go into too, right? Let me erase this because we're gonna still stay on the physical. This is one last thing I think I'm gonna go into. I might go into something else, but this is another thing that's very important, right? Your purpose. Very important. Are you following your purpose? Do you even know what your purpose is, right? And let me know in the comments too, because I can do a video on how you find your purpose. Purpose and finding your purpose is a very fulfilling thing because it's no more questions of what am I supposed to be doing, what it is. And most of the times when you're operating in your purpose, money comes easily. When you operate in your purpose, health comes easily. When you operate in your purpose, love comes easily, okay? And self-love comes easily. A sense of accomplishment comes easy, okay? So purpose is very important. And you have to ask yourself, am I doing the things that serve my purpose, right? Or what I thought was my purpose, is it serving me? Did somebody tell me that this was my purpose, or did I find it for myself? Okay, family? So that is the thing that I want to talk to about, the mental, physical, and spiritual awareness. That is very important. You have to become aware so you don't fall in the snare. I like doing rhymes, man, my bad, I'm a rapper, by the way, I make pretty good music, but I believe becoming aware on a mental, physical, and spiritual level will help you be healthy and stay healthy, okay? But you have to do it. You have to be aware on a mental, physical, and spiritual level. And with that being said, this is Nakash with Heal For Real, where I teach you hidden knowledge to help you heal for real on a mental, physical, and spiritual plane. Because truth be told, you need all three to keep you whole. With that being said, it's your brother Nakash, man. Signing out.